Bangladesh is seeing the resurgence of the ISI-backed Jamaat-e-Islami. The hardline party under its leader Shafiqur Rahman has been accused of orchestrating anti-Hasina movements and fanning anti-India sentiments in Bangladesh. Now, this can be seen in the attacks on Hindus, temples and institutions, including the popular Indian Culture Center in Dhaka. Now, Sheikh Hasina, as the Prime Minister, had banned the Jamaat-e-Islami and directed authorities to treat the JEI as a terror organization. And interestingly, it was Bangladesh's interim government, led by Mohammad Yunus, that withdrew the ban on the country's largest Islamist party. The Jamaat-e-Islami Pakistan in 1971 had collaborated with the Pakistan Army in its mass killings of East Pakistani citizens. It fought against the war of Bangladesh independence. But with Bangladesh now debating on whether to remove secularism and socialism from its constitution, this has raised concerns about the future trajectory of Bangladesh. And with the interim government showing no signs of holding elections and the army unwilling to step in, there is the potential for extremist groups like the Jamaat to exploit the political vacuum. Joining me to discuss this are journalists Subir Bhaumik, Samir Purkaista, and Ambassador Veena Sikri. And in the studio I have with me Deepak Badana. Ambassador Sikri, we are seeing the resurgence of the Jamaat-e-Islami in Bangladesh, an Islamist party that had ironically collaborated with the Pakistan Army against the fight for liberation in 1971. What does this mean for the minorities in Bangladesh and for India's security in the Northeast?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to recognize, and I'm glad that you've organized this discussion, we have to recognize that the Jamaat-e-Islami was the single party against the formation of Bangladesh in 1971. As you have said, they collaborated with the Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islami. We must remember that the Jamaat-e-Islami was an organization founded by Maulana Maududi in 1941 in what is today Pakistan, and it had, of course, branches all over the subcontinent. And in 1971, when the people of the then East Pakistan were fighting for their independence, the Jamaat-e-Islami was the biggest collaborator with the West Pakistan government, and they killed for 9 months. They had a genocidal program of attacks on the people of East Pakistan, particularly the intellectuals and the Hindus and other minorities. So their target at that time to prevent the formation of Bangladesh was to attack the intellectuals and to attack the minorities. I think we have to remember that today, after seeing this regime change operation in August, which forced Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to leave Bangladesh on the 5th of August, we have seen that this effort is now to bring back, to reverse what happened in 1971, to revive the collaboration with Pakistan, and to bring back all the tenets of Jamaat-e-Islami. We have seen that in this interim administration, it is not really an interim government because it is constitutionally not a valid organization at all. So this interim administration or interim regime, they have advisors among them who are members of the Hifazat-e-Islam, who are members of Hizb ut-Tahrir. So these are the two radical Islamist organizations who are dedicated to bringing back Sharia law, bring into Bangladesh, remove the constitution, bring a new constitution, bring Sharia law. And that is why we are seeing the biggest program, again, since 1971, this is the biggest genocidal program on the minorities in Bangladesh.
Absolutely, and very worrying, Ambassador Sikri, the biggest genocidal program against minorities in Bangladesh. Subir Bhaumik, Bangladesh is a country that you've been tracking practically since its birth 53 years ago. And today is, of course, Navy Day. It's one of the key milestone events in that calendar of the 1971 India-Pakistan war. But explain for us how the Jamaat is using this vacuum that Ambassador Sikri mentioned, that you have an interim government that is literally is supposed to be in power, but it seems to be powerless to prevent these attacks on minorities. How is the Jamaat using this political power vacuum in Bangladesh to revive itself?
Well, the biggest irony, Sandeep, is that we have an interim government which has been sworn in with all these advisors, Chief Advisor Yunus and his team of advisors swearing not on the Holy Quran, or
Yes.
any religious text, but of the Bangladesh Constitution,
Right.
which does not have any provision for an interim government.
Yes.
Not even a caretaker government, which was there earlier, because that was removed by the 15th Amendment.
Right.
Now, recently, in a petition involving a challenge to the 15th Amendment, the country's chief law officer, the Attorney General Asad has said that the word secular should be dropped.
Yes.
So Yunus, despite his great liberal facade, Nobel laureate, which
Yes.
endears him to some people like the Clintons in America, to whose foundation he has liberally donated.
Yes.
So it ultimately, Veena Didi will realize, payadi girl, as you say in Punjabi.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, this whole team is creating a situation which takes back Bangladesh not only to the days before 1971,
Yes.
the days of Pakistan and Islamist, but towards a new kind of an Islamist dispensation,
Yes.
which is an antithesis, which is an
Right.
exact antithesis to what 71 stood for. So I will tell you, at the political level, the attack is systematically on everything that's connecting to 71.
Yes.
Desecration of statues of Sheikh Mujib,
Absolutely.
attacking the Liberation War Museum, but more dangerously, at the social level, there is a very strong effort
Yes.
to bring into existence an Islamist republic.
Yes.
Today, I've just seen videos sent to me by my friends where some of these Jamaat people and other fundamentalists are going around in their robes
Right.
and announcing that every shop
Yes.
must have a parda system and women should come and stand behind that parda
Right.
before they try to buy things from the shopkeeper. What rubbish!
Yes.
This is happening in a Bengali environment.
Absolutely.
Women have to stand behind the parda.
So this is,
So this is not
it's
just
really
an attack on
alarming.
religious minorities, but
Yes.
an attack on gender rights.
Right, absolutely, it's an attack, and we've seen what happens when Islamists take over in Afghanistan. The kind of, the first people to be targeted are the women. Of course, minorities are fair game for Islamists. But Sameer Purkaista, you've also been tracking Bangladesh very closely. Tell us how the Jamaat-e-Islami is using this opportunity, this very, very interesting confluence of events where you have Sheikh Hasina being ousted, who was an enemy of the Jamaat. You have a vacuum, a power vacuum there in Bangladesh right now. India unable to exercise any other options, including the military option. How is the Jamaat using this vacuum to rebuild itself and possibly look at a Islamist government coming to power in Bangladesh?
See, Jamaat is trying to expand its footprint in Bangladesh.
Yes.
Though in India we make a lot of hue and cry about Jamaat's influence in Bangladesh.
Yes.
If you see electorally, Jamaat has never got more than 12% votes in
Right.
any elections in Bangladesh. Way back, its best ever performance was in 1991 when it got 12% vote, and that also piggy riding on BNP. So basically, what Jamaat is now trying to do is, they say it's the best opportunity
Yes.
to pursue its unfinished agenda of Islamizing Bangladesh.
Right, pursuing the unfinished agenda, yes.
Yeah, yes, unfinished agenda of Islamizing Bangladesh, and for that, if you see why Jamaat is unable to grow electorally in Bangladesh, it's because of its role in the Bangladesh's liberation war.
Right.
And then Bangladesh society as such is
Yes.
not Wahhabis
Yes.
or Salafiyat. So there is a strong influence of Sufism. They play
Yes.
a counter to the Jamaat's
Right.
Islamic identity.
Right.
So here, after this mass uprising, a political vacuum has created.
Yes.
And Jamaat says this is an opportunity, and that's why they are also not only targeting minorities, they
Yes.
are also targeting all symbols of liberation war, so that the
Yes.
spirit of liberation war is discredited.
Is
So that
discredited and even extinguished. Thank you, Samir. I'm going to go back to Ambassador Veena Sikri. Deepak, I'll come to you in a minute. But Ambassador Sikri, this point that you made, and you've been making this repeatedly, seems to be an attempt to turn the clock back when the Jamaat takes over and when the BNP, of course, comes to power, is that to kind of, mute all the symbols of the 1971 war, where you target the statues and the memorials dedicated to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Is the Jamaat in a position to alter the narrative in Bangladesh? Can it come to power, given the fact that, as our panelists have mentioned, it's never captured more than 12% of the vote share? So how does it actually continue to make an impact in Bangladeshi politics? Will it continue to play this role of targeting minorities, playing a nuisance thing, or will, at the end of the day, Bengali cultural nationalism win the day?
Well, right now, this is the crux of the struggle. Because Jamaat-e-Islami, as panelist has very correctly said, has rarely got up to 10% of the vote.
Yes.
Now, they're determined to win a larger percentage of the vote share, and they're doing propaganda and surveys in this direction by eliminating everybody else. Now, you spoke about the BNP. Actually, the Jamaat-e-Islami is trying to eliminate the BNP also.
Right.
And they're trying to make sure that they are the ones who are solely in power. And the ones who pushed the regime change operation also pushed the Jamaat-e-Islami into power. At the expense of the BNP, their hitherto, their erstwhile alliance partner during 2001-2006. But they, at the cost of the BNP, the Jamaat is now solely in control. So they're doing their best to delay elections, to talk about reforms. Actually, they have no constitutional mandate for reforms at all. Constitutional reform, election reform, financial reform, this can be done by an elected government. And the role of an interim administration, even when it was there in the constitution, was just to exist for 90 days to organize elections and to maintain law and order. Now, this government is unable to maintain law and order. Mohammed Yunus is just a puppet. He's not in control at all. He's doing just what the Islamists tell him to do. The advisors in the government, except for these two, the Hifazat-e-Islam and the Hizb ut-Tahrir, they really have no say. I don't see even any meaningful orders or decisions being passed by them. So the idea is hit on the minorities. They're wanting to push the minorities out. When the Buddhists were attacked in Khagrachari in the month of September, this is what they were told. And the army was with the Jamaat-e-Islami in trying to attack the Buddhists and telling them, leave the country, leave the country. Even the Hindus, they were told this right from the 5th of August. Even when their lands were taken away, they were said, okay, here's the money, leave the country. But the younger generation among the Hindus and other minorities said, no, we are not leaving. We are staying. This is our country. We are its citizens. We want our rights. And in fact, the Hindu community, led by Chinmoy Krishan Das, who has made this Bangladesh Samiliti Sanatani Jagran Jot, he has made an 8-point demand for the interim administration, asking for, a law for the protection of minorities, a ministry for the protection of minorities, that all those who have attacked the minorities should be arrested, should be tried, and judicial justice should be given to the Hindu community. All these very simple demands are there, but the administration, ostensibly led by Professor Mohammed Yunus, we know he's not in charge, they instead of attacking those who are destroying law and order by attacking the Hindus, they've attacked Chinmoy Krishan Das himself and put him in jail. And when he appeared in court for the first time and his supporters went to meet him, those supporters were attacked. In fact, Chinmoy Das's lawyers have been attacked so brutally that they're now fighting for their lives in ICU. And court in Bangladesh yesterday, there was no lawyer to defend Chinmoy Krishan Das because all the Hindu lawyers have been charged and they are unable to appear. So instead of saying that yes, it's the duty of the state to provide a lawyer for Chinmoy Das, any judge, all the judges now are not the ones who were there earlier. The earlier ones have been forced out of their job. They've been derailed and told to resign, and these are all appointees. And this judge yesterday has imprisoned Chinmoy Krishan Das for 1 more month, a completely illegal incarceration, and no rights of legal defense being given to him.
Absolutely.
This is the travesty of the Bangladesh judicial and criminal penal codes, and this is what is happening.
It's
So the effort-
exactly, Ambassador Sikri. Yes, it's alarming indeed. I mean, who is in charge really in Bangladesh? And the violence in Bangladesh is having its echoes here in India, where there's a substantial community of Bangladeshi students. Deepak, you've been talking to a couple of those students. How frightened are they of what's going on back home?
I mean, these children, and they are children, they're just 19 to 20-year-olds, they
Bangladeshi students studying here in
So there are
India.
approximately 12,000 students in India of Bangladeshi origin. Out of them, 5,000 odd students are ones on scholarships, right? And the other 7,000 are self-supporting students. Of the 5,000, most of them, or at least 50% of them, belong to Bangladesh's minorities. But then you also have a sizable portion of people from the majority. Now the thing is that one would imagine the minorities being afraid.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, with the mob violence in Bangladesh, everybody who is tied to 1971 by ideology, by blood, is fair game.
Yes.
So a lot of these people belong to, say, the middle class. People, who have somehow sent their children abroad to study.
Yes.
I just spoke yesterday to a student whose home was burned down 3 days ago.
Right.
His father has gone into hiding. His mother is hiding again with some relatives. The fear is that they'll reach their village in rural Bangladesh, and no visas are available for them.
And this is a Muslim student?
This is a Muslim student from the majority, a Sunni Bangladeshi student. Right. Then there's another thing. So Bangladesh has imposed a curfew, or a sort of, say, Bangladeshi banks have been instructed not to allow any money to be sent outside the country.
Right. That's making life difficult for the students.
Yeah.
And
they're completely cut off from their families.
They're completely cut off from their family, and in fact that seems to be the plight of many of the minorities, and of course ordinary Bangladeshis who want nothing better than to lead a normal life. But that seems to be increasingly difficult as organizations like the Jamaat-e-Islami that we just spoke of run the show in Bangladesh several months after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been ousted from the country. But that's a story we've been tracking on from literally the day Sheikh Hasina was ousted by this mysterious coup and this regime change operation that took place in Bangladesh, and has brought out this Islamist winter that we're all very worried about in India's backyard. But thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador Sikri, Subir Bhaumik and Samir Purkasta, on this discussion on the Jamaat taking center stage in Bangladesh. From Bangladesh to Bangladeshis in India, you just heard it from Deepak. India has 12,000 Bangladeshi students in India. The Delhi University alone has about 160 Bangladeshi students. These students are worried about the situation in their country, the well-being of their families and their businesses. Some have been suddenly burdened by finances. The unrest in Bangladesh has made it difficult for their families to send them money. Deepak Badana spoke to a member of the Bangladeshi Students' League who, for security's sake, refused to show his face. This is what he had to say about the political turmoil, the attack on the minorities, and his own story in Delhi.
They are burning Indian flags, they are killing a lot of people, they are killing in masses. They can kill my parents. That's the issue. My parents have suggested me not to speak a single word. My parents just suggested me to, if I feel unsafe, I should come back. But still I can't go back. If I go back, they won't give me any job. Because I am studying from India, they will say I am a raw agent. See, this is happening. So the BNP is saying that UNIS is trying to do -2. Means they have minus Bangladesh Awami League, and now they are trying to do -2 that Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP. So who is controlling? You can see in the current advisory committee, there is some people who has been, you can say, recommended by Jamaat-e-Islam. But I don't think, or the news I have got from my father, or I am seeing on the media, I don't think neither Jamaat-e-Islam is in power, or they are doing this, they are running the government, neither the students, because the students are still protesting. You have seen yesterday also, 2-3 days ago, they are fighting for their rights. They're still fighting. So that is not a student. They are running the government. They are just a face. What UNIS is saying, other advisors is not listening. You can see UNIS is saying we are free. If Awami League is doing the change, we will let them do the politics in Bangladesh. But other advisor like Mahfuz Alam, who is said to be the meticulously designed person who has done this whole design, UNIS said to that UN, he was in there, and he said no, he won't let do politics. He won't let do Awami League politics. That is the issue. So who is running? Is it Mahfuz Alam running? You don't know his name maybe, but he is one of the advisor, and previously he used to be the secretary of Yunus, when he was not an advisor, but he was an advisor, and he is said to be the person who designed the whole thing, the protest. And so minorities will give vote to Awami League, that's the issue. Another part, minorities are understanding what is going on, and they are trying. See, you can, I previously I said they are coming to the field, they are taking the children to the mosque, but minorities are not going. They will not go to the mosque, so they can't brainwash them. So minorities are understanding what is going on. That's why they are protesting. So after the protest, I can say minorities who are the part of Bangladesh Awami League, they have been tortured at first, at a very bad level. I can't even show you the pictures. I can't even show the camera the picture. I can show you the thing. They have been tortured, they have been raped. They have a lot of things happened. You can also search on Google, you can search on the media. But after that, what minorities came in protest few days ago, that Chinmoy was heading that protest, one of the faces of that protest. Minorities came in protest because they understood they are now in danger. So after that, this violence is going against the minorities. They want to ban ISKCON. See, as a citizen of Bangladesh, I can see, if they can arrest Chinmoy, they can arrest anyone. It's a message to everyone, every minority: if you go against us, we'll arrest you, everyone, we'll kill everyone. So for me, I'm not a minority, but still I am afraid. If they can arrest Chinmoy, they can arrest anyone.